Hey, Happy New Year. It's Peter here from the Salvos. I was asked recently to write a sermon on mission and mission regarding, God's mission, but also in a Salvation Army context. Write a sermon about mission. I was reflecting on this sermon idea for mission. What is God's mission? And what came back to me over and over again was the fact it's God's mission. His mission. The mission of God, the mission of salvation, it's His plan. It's His agenda. It's His responsibility. And the beautiful thing about that is that God invites us into that mission. He invites us to be part of this plan of salvation where humanity is restored, where creation is restored back to its original purpose. Having an awareness that God is in charge. In Luke 10, God says, pray that God will raise up workers, or beg the Lord of the harvest to raise up workers. What I love about that text is that God is inviting us to be dependent on Him. God is saying, this is my mission. Be dependent on me. Ask me to raise up these people. Jesus is saying to us, it's not our mission, it's His mission. And He's inviting us into it. And He's saying, let me lead. Let me raise up the people. You go to the people. The first point is you have an awareness of God and you know that He's in charge. He invites us to be in this story. The second point would be go. He says go. Go into community. Be present in community. The whole idea of just being a light in a community is an amazing witness, because when people see the presence of Jesus being lived out in your life, when they see love, when they see joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control, gentleness, when they see those qualities being played out in community, it stands out. It stands out like a sore thumb, because you don't see that very often. You don't see nice people in our world today. You don't see patient people. Road rage, massive problem. You don't see gentle people. It's very aggressive and I need it now. Impatience. There is no patience. So when you start to model the fruit of the Spirit in a community, just by being present in that community, you're being a missionary. Just by allowing the Holy Spirit to work in your life, right where you are being a missionary. And Jesus actually says in Luke 10, go, find a person of peace. Go and find a person who God has prepared for us to meet. People in our world, God is raising up. He has placed the people in our world. The people that we need to meet, the people that are open to Him, they are there. Of course, there's also the people of unpeace, the people that aren't interested, that you have to go through to find those people of peace. The people that couldn't care less about God. But to find the people of peace, you need to be prepared to find people of unpeace. So, ultimately, the mission of God is God's. He invites us to be dependent on Him, and He says to go and be present within community. And what happens then when you are present in community and you find a person of peace? You find that as you go and find that person and stay with that person, build a relationship with that person, you'll find trust will form. You'll find that a positive, caring community will form. And you'll find that there will be a relationship, like a family relationship, formed with that person of peace. And if you stay with that person of peace, you'll see it will have a chain reaction into their social networks, to their family, to their friends. And the mission of God, the mission of the Salvation Army, has often been complicated and turned into something crazy. And you have to be some specialist, some evangelism expert. But that's a lie. It's not true. God says, be dependent on me, trust me, I've placed people in the community. I want you to go and find them and stay with those people. Now, you might say, oh, I don't really agree with that, Peter. It doesn't sit right. That's not what I've been taught. I've been taught that I have to have all these gifts and I have to do this and I have to say this prayer and I have to do this. If you don't believe me, look at how God himself did mission. Just take a step back for a second. God the Father sent his son, vulnerable as a baby, to people of peace. Mary, Joseph. Other people of peace were the shepherds, the kings, all these people of peace that God had placed within community to be part of his story. Take a greater look from that point of view and you'll see that God was the missionary and God sent his son vulnerable into the mess, but in the mess God got the glory. In the mess God showed up many times and proved that he was God. And Jesus honored and pointed back to the Father saying, see, he is who he says he is. That's our role as followers of Jesus, to point back to the Father and say, see, he is who he says he is. I'm Peter from the Salvation Army.